Good evening and welcome back to Unlocking Finance with your financial friend. My name is Ntombi and we're just recapping today. Last week, we learned that the source of wealth matters. Well, today, we go deeper because sometimes the danger isn't bad money, it's free money. So today, we're going to be reading from the book of Genesis 23, and we've titled our series for today, or our episode for today, Paying for What Others Offer for Free. Still using the example of Abraham, but today our passage we're reading from is Genesis 23. So let's read together. I'm going to be reading from verse 1 up until 20, so bear with me. All right. From verse 1, it says, Sarah lived to be 127 years old. She died at Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan, and Abraham went to mourn for Sarah and to weep over her. Then Abraham rose from beside his dead wife and spoke to the Hittites. He said, I am an alien and a stranger among you. Sell me some property for a burial site here so I can bury my dead. The Hittites replied to Abraham, Sir, listen to us. You are a mighty prince among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of our tombs. None of us will refuse you his tomb for burying your dead. Then Abraham rose and bowed down before the people of the land, the Hittites. He said to them, If you are willing to let me bury my dead, then listen to me and intercede with Ephron, son of Zohar, on my behalf, so he will sell me the cave of Machpelah, which belongs to him and is in the end of his field. Ask him to sell it to me for the full price as a burial site among you. Ephron the Hittite was sitting among his people, and he replied to Abraham in the hearing of all the Hittites who had come to the gate of his city. No, my lord, he said, listen to me. I give you the field, and I give you the cave that is in it. I give it to you in the presence of my people. Bury your dead. Again, Abraham bowed down before the people of the land, and he said to Ephron in their hearing, Listen to me, if you will. I will pay the price of the field. Accept it from me, so I can bury my dead there. Ephron answered Abraham, Listen to me, my lord. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. But what is that between me and you? Bury your dead. Abraham agreed to Ephron's terms and weighed out for him the price he had named in the hearing of the Hittites, 400 shekels of silver, according to the weight current among the merchants. So Ephron's field in Machpelah near Mamre, both the field and the cave in it, and the trees within the borders of the field was deeded to Abraham as his property in the presence of all the Hittites who had come to the gate of the city. Afterward, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave of the field of Machpelah near Mamre, which is at Hebron, in the land of Canaan. So the field and the cave in it were deeded to Abraham by the Hittites as a burial site. I love this story. I read about it in this past weekend, and I was just so mind blown by it when I actually read it from a different perspective, when the Lord shared a different perspective, especially from a finance point of view, from a legacy building point of view, as we read this passage of scripture. So we understand that Sarah died in this situation. This was when Sarah died and Abraham was actively looking for a burial place for his wife. So the Hittites come to him, as we read, and offer this land for him for free. I'm quite sure Abraham was a reputable figure in those times, a well-respected individual. So I don't think they were malicious in their offerings. I think they were really being generous towards Abraham because he was a well-respected man in those times. And they were probably doing it as an act of honor and also the relationships they may have built with him. And so when we read here, they offer it to him. However, like in the previous week, Abraham's response wasn't your typical type of response. It was different. He says, listen, allow me to pay for this full price. Not even discounted, not even, at a small amount. He says, let me pay it for what it's worth. So the question is, why would you refuse generosity? What's wrong with Abraham? Why would he do that? Why is he refusing the favor of the Lord? The favor of the Lord is upon him. Everyone wants to give him things for free. He doesn't have to pay for it. But for some reason, he insists on paying for the price. And based on my observations, I see that Abraham understood three things. Firstly, that free assets can always be disputed at a later stage. When something is given to you for free, it can easily be taken back away from you. Secondly, gifts can be reinterpreted. They can be redefined. The things that we receive for free, that we didn't pay a cost for, can actually be changed. The terms and conditions can change at a later stage. And the third thing is ownership without transaction lacks security. So there's nothing really that says, okay, this belongs to me, or something that will stand and speak on your behalf should the terms no longer be the same, or should the terms no longer be favorable. Because let's be honest, as human beings, today we're happy, tomorrow we're sad. Today we want this and tomorrow we don't. So we can't really rely on people and, the level of integrity that they have, because we can change at any given moment. And so I believe that Abraham understood this. And so he didn't want any complications. He just wanted to make it clear from the beginning. And that's what we see in terms of his characteristics, is that Abraham valued clarity. He did not like confusion. He wanted everything to be clear, especially when it comes to his finances, his wealth building journey, and his legacy building journey. He didn't want someone else at a later stage to say, we are removing your wife's remains because of whatever reason or whatever disputes may have risen from, whatever. But he made sure to say, listen, I've paid the full price and this is it. I own it. No one can challenge me to it. So we understand that he wasn't trying to be difficult. He was just thinking ahead. He was being generationally wise. He wasn't just buying the land for Sarah. He was establishing a legal, permanent claim for future generations. He wanted to make sure that his generations, even when he's no longer there, and his children and his children's children take over, that there's no confusion. So when we look at this from this day and age, this could look like family businesses that don't have contracts. Or, you've probably heard the phrase, we'll sort out the paperwork at a later stage. Or it could be shared assets without clarity. Maybe you're sharing your friends, things are going so well. But like I said, circumstances change. They change. People change. And things might never be the same again. Things might change. People's attitudes may change. The state of relationships might change. You can't put your trust in people. And that's what we read in the book of Proverbs, right? Which says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. Do not rely on human beings, because us as human beings cannot be reliable when we have to compare ourselves to God. We are not reliable. We change, we grow, we develop, we evolve. And so it's important that when it comes to your finances, that you are clear, even as a child of God. Because at times as children of God, we have misunderstandings. We disguise it as we're just being generous, we're just being kind, we're being considerate, compassionate, because that is what Jesus would do. But when we look at Abraham did not compromise, and Abraham did not make space for confusion when it came to that. He said, rather have me pay the full price so that it's clear from the beginning that this belongs to me and the legacy that I'm trying to build for my family. So what principle are we picking up here? If you don't pay for clarity now, your children might pay for confusion at a later stage. I'm going to say that again. If you don't pay for clarity now, your children might pay for the confusion at a later stage. So you may not suffer the consequences. The circumstances might be favorable for you right now, but your children might have to suffer at a later stage because you were not clear from the beginning. Now understand that maybe you might be on good terms with these people or whoever you make deals with, but your children might not be on good terms with their children. Maybe things were not written down and they are not aware of these relationships. They are not aware of all these things. And so it's very important to have these things written down on paper, to make sure there's records of all these things, to make sure there's a price that's been paid, even if it's offered to you for free. Make sure that you establish clarity from the beginning so that there's no confusion and that no one suffers for it at a later stage. Because every decision that you make today will affect your future generations, whether you like it or not. So rather choose better. Rather make better decisions. Every decision that you make it with your future generations in mind. Think about them. Think about your children. Think about your children's children. Have you established the right systems for them to benefit from it in the future? Or is everything that you've built today going to die after? We also read about this, in the book of Chronicles, when we read about the bloodlines and all the different types of kings of Israel. There are certain kings that serve God and there are certain kings that did not serve God, and read about it. There are some people whose fathers were serving God, but they did not serve God. And so it's very important for us to think generationally when we build our wealth, when we go to work and we, accumulate those income streams. We must be mindful of tomorrow. We must be mindful of the people that are going to take over from tomorrow. We need to be mindful of the people that we're bringing onto this earth to occupy the land, to ensure that they continue walking in the will of God and that they don't end up having to figure things out by themselves. Establish a system that will work for your family. So this week I want you to ask yourself 2 questions. What do you have access to, but you don't truly own? And the second question is, what needs legal or financial clarity? What things do you possess that are blurred, that are unclear? Is it the house that you stay in? Assuming that, you have siblings, there won't be any issues. Could it be a deal that you made with your boss or deals that you made with your friends and thought, we're best friends forever? And you never know. It's very important that even as you establish these relationships, these things in place, it's not that you have doubt and you don't have faith in these relationships, but it's understanding that we cannot place our faith in man. And so it's important that you put systems so that they may be beneficial for the people that you're building it for. You don't want to create chaos for your children. You don't want to create confusion for them. You want to make sure that it's something that can be passed on and that can last for long and can be an established system within your bloodline. Refuse to have a failing legacy while you were building it. Refuse to have a failed legacy where your children have to start from scratch or your children have to, fix all the damages that you've caused for them. Always think about these things on a daily basis. Every time you make decisions, make sure that everything is clear and you communicate it clear to your children as well. Say, this is what I've established for you. This is what I'm doing. Involve them in the systems that you're currently building. So if you want to build a budgeting culture in your family, involve them in the budgeting. When you go shopping, I was watching a video on social media of a man in America, I think, and he actively goes shopping with his child. He gives his child a gift card with a certain amount of money and gave this child and said, listen, you have this much money on this card. This is all you have to spend and buy whatever you want. And that video was so pleasurable to watch because you literally watch this child make decisions where he chose chocolates and healthy things and all these things. And when he saw that his limit he was going above, the limit, he started removing certain things and started prioritizing what was important and what he deemed as important for him. And I think that's brilliant in terms of involving your children because you're teaching them how to make the right decisions. It is not something that happens once off. It's something that needs to happen on a regular. So I want to challenge you this week to establish systems, establish clarity, make it clear, set those boundaries, and don't leave room for confusion. Next week, we're going to be looking at a powerful line spoken by Abraham's servant, which he says, I will not eat until I have said what I must say. But otherwise, I hope this helps. Let me know how this has helped you. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. And I hope that this really helps you in the future. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining Unlocking Finance with your financial friend. My name is Ntombi, and we'll be together again next week. Good night.